Good morning حبايبي الطلاب والطالبات. بهذا الفيديو رح نعتمد على كتاب Pioneer Student Book، فضروري يكون معكم الكتاب حتى تتابعوا معي شرح الفقرات. We had started explaining the reading text in Unit 6 with the title Out of the Blue before the sudden decision of this vacation. I want you all to bring your Pioneer Student Book, go to page 68, and follow with me. In this video, I'm going to discuss the first 3 paragraphs and talk about issues related to color blindness. Let's first decide where each paragraph starts and ends. Again, page 68, the text with the title Out of the Blue. We are going to discuss the first 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph starts from I was 22 to green and gray. The second paragraph starts from I was sent to content. And the third paragraph starts from painting to shot at me. So let's scan the text and see what kind of text is it. If you read the first few lines, like I was 22 when it happened, I was riding, I can't recall a thing, etc., you can notice that this text is about a personal experience. If you look at the picture accompanying the text, look at the picture with the text, it shows 2 different colored versions. The part of the picture which is on the right shows different colors of the beach, the sea, and the sky. And the part which is on the left, look at the book on the left, it shows the natural color of the sky, the sea, and the sand. Now, how can you relate the title with the picture? Well, the title is Out of the Blue. Out of the blue is an idiom with color. Notice the word blue, and idioms of colors are common in English. Okay, what does out of the blue mean? I'm going to use out of the blue in a sentence. So look at the sentence in front of you and try to guess its meaning. The sentence says, one day, out of the blue, she told me to get into the car and we drove out to a nearby beach. The sentence again, one day, out of the blue, she told me to get into the car and we drove out to a nearby beach. Take a minute and think of the idiom out of the blue in the sentence. Okay, it means unexpectedly or without planning. As if you are saying the sentence in this way, one day, unexpectedly, she told me to get into the car and we drove out to a nearby beach. So they didn't plan to go to the beach. It happened unexpectedly. Now let's begin with the first paragraph. Here I have written some questions about the paragraph, and while answering them, you can identify new words and learn them. I will read the paragraph. Follow with me. Out of the Blue by Jeffrey Sanders. I was 22 when it happened. I was riding my motorbike when a cat ran out into the street. I braked hard to avoid it, but landed headfirst on the asphalt. Unfortunately, I wasn't wearing a helmet. I remember the pain of the impact. After that, it's all a blur. I can't recall a thing. A few hours later, I woke up in hospital looking at the worried faces of my parents. I had a headache and a few cuts and bruises. Other than that, I felt fine. However, as my eyes adjusted to the light of the hospital room, I noticed that everything looked as though it were tinged with pink, green, and gray. Let's try to answer the comprehension questions about this paragraph. While discussing the questions, I want you to focus on new words, as I said, especially the words which are highlighted in yellow. As I told you at the beginning, the text is written by Jeffrey Sanders, and it's a personal experience article. Question number 1, how old was he when he had the accident? He was 22. What happened while he was riding his motorbike? A cat ran out into the street, so he braked hard to avoid it, but landed headfirst on the asphalt. Look at braked hard. When you use the brakes of the car, you try to stop the car. So he braked hard means he tried to slow down by applying pressure to the wheels and stop. Look at, but landed headfirst. When he tried to stop his motorbike, he landed headfirst, and that means he fell with his head going first to the ground. Was he wearing a helmet? No, he wasn't. What is the only thing he clearly remembers? Look at line 3 and 4. The pain of the impact. Focus on the word impact. Impact means the effect or influence. But here, the pain of the impact means the action of one object hitting another object. And after that, it's all a blur. I can't recall a thing. What does "it's all a blur" mean? If your vision blurs, or if something blurs, it means you cannot see things clearly. And he couldn't recall a thing. He couldn't remember anything. What happened after a few hours later? Or a few hours later, what happened? He woke up in hospital. What did he first see when he woke up? He saw the worried faces of his parents. How did he feel? He had a headache and a few cuts and bruises. What does bruises mean? What is a bruise? A bruise is an injury or mark where the skin is darker in color. And this is as a result of being hit. احنا بنقول bruises كدمات. What did he notice as his eyes adjusted to the light of the hospital room? He noticed that everything looked as though it were tinged with pink, green, and gray. His eyes adjusted to the light. This is line 7. It means he tried to focus his eyes and be familiar with the new situation. And he noticed that everything was tinged with pink, green, and gray. Tinged means having a slight amount of colors mixed together. So he saw pink, green, and gray mixed together. Okay, now let's move into the second paragraph. I'm going to read the second paragraph, then to discuss some questions with you about it. Okay. The second paragraph. I was sent for eye tests and was told that I had developed retinopathy as a result of the accident. It's a rare form of color blindness in which the color blue appears grayish-green and yellow appears pink. People with retinopathy can also have difficulty distinguishing between green and blue. I was deeply depressed by the news. I couldn't bear the thought of not seeing blue again, as it also happens to be my favorite color. Just seeing it makes me feel calm and content. Here are some questions about this paragraph. The first question is, what did doctors tell him after he was sent for eye tests? He had developed retinopathy as a result of the accident. This is line 1 in paragraph 2. What does developed retinopathy mean? When an illness develops, it means you become ill with this disease. So you can notice that retinopathy is an illness. And what's this illness is explained in the next line. Let's read it. What is tritanopia? It's a rare form of color blindness. It's a rare form of color blindness in which the color blue appears grayish green and yellow appears pink. Some people actually have this problem because they see certain colors differently from normal people. Okay. Question 2, what are the symptoms of this rare form of color blindness? Symptoms, أعراض المرض. The answer is in line 4. The color blue appears grayish green and yellow appears pink. Now, what do people with tritanopia find difficult to distinguish? They have difficulty distinguishing between green and blue. How did the news of his condition make him feel? It made him feel deeply depressed. Okay. What was hard for him? That he wouldn't be able to see blue again. And what was the reason for this? It was because blue happened to be his favorite color. How does blue make him feel? Calm and content. Content means satisfied and pleased. Look at line 5 in this paragraph. I couldn't bear the thought of not seeing blue again. Couldn't bear means I couldn't accept the situation. What situation? Not seeing blue again. Okay. Now, paragraph 3, I'm going to read the paragraph. I want you to pay attention to words and their meanings. Paragraph 3. Painting is something I do as a hobby, but after my accident, I stubbornly refused to take it up again. I thought, what's the point? I could only see a limited range of colors, and I knew I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I used to. So my old set of paints were stored away, and any reference to them would create an atmosphere of tension. My sister used all kinds of tactics to get me to paint. She pleaded with me. She tried to persuade me by offering gifts or treats. And when she lost her patience, she would even shout at me. Okay, let's start with the questions. What is one of Jeffrey's hobbies? Painting is one of his hobbies. How did he feel about taking painting up again after the accident? He refused to do so. What so? To paint. He refused to paint again. And he said, I stubbornly refused to take it up again. When you take something up again, it means you continue practicing something after interruption. I stubbornly refused. When you stubbornly refuse something, it means it's difficult to change your mind. Okay, now, why did he feel like that? Because he could only see a limited range of colors, and he knew he wouldn't enjoy it as much as he used to do. Okay, now, what did he do with his old set of paints? He stored them away. When you store something away, it means you put something in a safe place until you need it. What did any reference to them tend to create? Them refers to what? To his set of paints. So any reference to them tend to create an atmosphere of tension. Reference here means any mentioning. So any mentioning to his set of colors or paints. How did his sister try to get him to paint? She pleaded with him. She tried to persuade him by offering him gifts or treats. And when she lost patience, she would even shout at him. Let's discuss those lines, the last part of the paragraph. His sister used all kinds of tactics. Tactics means ways and methods. She used all ways to get him to paint. To get him to paint means to force him to paint. She even pleaded with him. She begged him to paint and tried to persuade him. What is another word for persuade him? To convince him to go back to painting. She offered him gifts and treats. Treats is something offered to entertain someone, and to give someone a great pleasure, like sweets. So treats here, it means sweets, as a way of encouraging him to go back to painting. Okay, and this is the last part of the text, the last paragraph. إن شاء الله إحنا بالفيديو القادم رح نشرح بقية الفقرات. إن شاء الله تكونوا هيك شوي ركزتوا بالمعلومات بأول 3 فقرات واستفدتوا شوي. Thank you so much.